Shalom, Shalom and welcome. Welcome to the White Rose Family Channel. If you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Symmanayah, and these are the words I'm compelled to present before an awakening set-apart nation. To those who are drawn by the Almighty Creator, He who is the beginning and the end, Yahuah is His name, who are drawn by Him to Yahusha, His Word, directing us to His Word in the name of Yahusha. His Word is reflective of the name Yahusha. It was manifest before us from the virgin birth. He walked among us to the sacrifice to the resurrection. And even the scriptures speak of that Yahuah sent His set-apart spirit in Yahusha's name in John 14:26. We will discover in the days ahead, O Yashar'al, how to discern the life in scriptures to fully understand the dynamics of our relationship with the Almighty Father. We will discover in the coming days how to discern His desires and expectations for His children. But before I get into this segment, my brothers and sisters, I want to say this. The views expressed in these messages do not necessarily reflect the views of the owners, managers, and or shareholders or their sponsors. They do not reflect them. With that said, hear these words, O Yashar'al. Listen to them prayerfully and patiently as I present the case regarding pearls and pigs. Pearls and pigs. With each passing day, to receive the flowing water of the word of the Almighty Father, we must be able to believe and trust and identify that there are days when He will give us tidbits of wisdom to strengthen and prepare us, to fortify us for the challenges that we face. And in this segment, I will talk about pearls and pigs. My brothers and sisters, prayer and patience is strongly recommended. Let's begin by thinking of Noah. And I pose a question to you, O Yashar'al. Were there details provided for successfully building the ark? Would you agree that Noah had loaded the ark with what was needed? Hold that thought, and I promise you I will connect these words to the subject of pearls and pigs. Let me continue, Yashar'al. Now consider Lot. Did he and his family leave with possessions, or were they led out by messengers with literally nothing? Come with me to Genesis 19th chapter, verses 14 through 17 as I read these. And again, I will tie these to the subject, pearls and pigs. Genesis 19 chapter 14 through 17 said, "And Lot went out and spoke to his son-in-laws, who had married his daughters, and said, 'Get up, get out of this place, for Yahuah is going to destroy this city.' But to his sons-in-law, he seemed to be as one joking. And when morning dawned, the messengers urged Lot to hurry, saying, 'Get up, take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here, lest you be consumed in the punishment of the city.' And while he loitered, the men took hold of his hand and his wife's hand and the hands of his 2 daughters, Yahuah having compassion on him, and they brought him out and set him outside the city. And it came to be, when they had brought them outside, he said, 'Escape for your life. Do not look behind you, nor stay anywhere in the plain. Escape to the mountains, lest you be consumed.'" Read the full story, O Yashar'al. In one case, Noah had resources and supplies. In another case, we see Lot leaving with probably just the clothes on his back, guided by the hands of the messenger of Yahuah. Noah had necessary resources and supplies loaded onto the ark before destruction came. Lot and his family Lot and family left with clothes on their backs. Keep this in mind, Yashar'al, for they are important in these last days. I want to bring you to a passage. I want to remind you that we are reminded that end times will be as the days of Noah and as the days of Lot. In other words, some will leave with possessions, others with the clothes on their back. Consider Luke 17:26-30. For it reads, Luke 17:26-30, as it came to be in the days of Noah, so also shall it be in the days of the son of Adam. They were eating, they were drinking, they were marrying, they were given in marriage until the day of Noah went into the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all that was outside the ark. It's saying, likewise, as it came to be in the days of Lot, they were eating, they were drinking, they were buying, they were selling, they were planting, they were building. But on the day Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and sulfur from heaven and destroyed all. It shall be the same in the day of the son of Adam being revealed. Yashar'al, we are approaching that time, that physical return of Yahushua, but there are some things that must occur, including the final exodus. It would be wise to accept similar conditions will come during these end times. Like it said, like in the days of Noah, like in the days of Lot. It is important to remember that Yahuwah never changed. There's a schedule, there are timelines, there are things prophesied and made known to us through His Word, especially through His Word as it is made alive. And I say to you, O Yashar'al, consider these words and remember them each day. Malachi 3:6 says, for I am Yahuwah. I shall not change, and you, O sons of Yaakov, shall not come to an end. It is also written in James 1:16-17 says, do not go astray, my beloved brothers. Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of lights, with whom there is no change nor shadow of turning. Some of the experiences we've read about in days of old, we will see similar conditions in the days ahead. I want to pose a question to you, listener, viewer of these words, listener of these words, viewer of this video. I want to pose a question. Who do you think will be most successful? The ones who pay attention to details, or those who take for granted the wisdom and knowledge of the Almighty Father? That can be considered a rhetorical question, meaning I already have an answer. Naturally, those who pay attention to the Almighty Father. But I want you to ask that question. What do you believe? And how strongly do you believe? What actions are you taking to discern the details and processes regarding these final days? Yashar'al, or Yashar'al, let me share with you the relevance of what I just presented regarding the topic of pearls and pigs. Do not take these words for granted. Failure will come to those who ignore the details needed. It is my belief that vanity will prove to be a big distraction. Come and see, O Yashar'al. Remember, the Almighty Father changes not. Remember, like in the days of Noah, like in the days of Lot. There was times when some was led with resources. There was some was led by the hand with the clothes on their back. Now, what does that have to do with pearls and pigs? Come, let us visit this passage. For out of all the posts that I've put up, my brothers and sisters, I had to pray before putting up anything to keep in mind this passage. Matthew 13:44-46. It says, and again, the reign of heavens is like treasure hidden in a field, which a man having found it, hid, and for joy over it, he goes and sells all that he has and buys that field. He want to possess that treasure in the field that the treasure came from, my brothers and sisters. It says, again, the reign of heavens is like a man, a merchant, seeing fine pearls, who when he had found one pearl of great price, went and sold all that he had and bought it. Pearl. Now notice that it said the rain of heaven, like a pearl. There's a point. Bear with me patiently and prayerfully, my brothers and sisters. Pearls versus pigs. Come with me to Matthew chapter 7, verse 6. For it reads, do not give what is set apart to dogs, nor throw your pearls before the pigs, lest they trample them under their feet and turn and tear them into pieces. This passage would tend to lead one not to say things that are of value before pigs. It could mean to just be quiet. Some may say, when I put these posts up, I'm casting pearls to pigs. But understand, my brothers and sisters, it's written in Ecclesiastes, there's a time and seasons for everything under the sun. There's a time to present and speak. There's a time to be quiet. What I want you to know, my brothers and sisters, is that it's important to identify the pigs, the swine, and let us not waste time arguing and debating with individuals who have no intentions of discerning what the Spirit of Yahuah is saying to his children. You see, there are those who take the results, the pearls that you've received from Yahuah, the treasures that we've received from Yahuah, and want to manipulate them or use them to fit their own hidden agendas, their own selfish ways. The wise one is careful not to stop too soon. Now you might say, what do I mean by that? Let me pause for a minute and challenge you. What do you think of when you think of a pearl? And ask these questions of others. Now I'm going to present a narrative that I believe has something to do with the pearl and more than what we've imagined in regards to the pearl. But I believe somebody will confirm this, for out of the mouth of two or more it is established. And I believe these are the words of Yahuah, making known to me more about the pearl than we pay attention to. My brothers and sisters, there's a reason why we are told to examine matters. Examine a matter thoroughly before latching your life to it. So many people have jumped on camps, communities, fellowships without examining thoroughly, latching on to the wrong group, the wrong shepherd, the wrong pastor. It is important to examine, to vet, to ask questions, lest we be in a situation like many of you probably responded in your mind regarding the pearl. I'm going to talk about that a little more in a minute. But let me have you read Proverbs chapter 3, verse 13 through 18. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 13 through 18 said, blessed is the man who has found wisdom and the man who gets understanding. For the gain from it is better than the gain from silver, and its increase than fine gold. She is more precious than rubies, and all your delights are not comparable to her. I would say she is even more precious than pearls. I'm going to say that even more in a minute. The length of days is in her right hand, riches and esteem in her left hand. Her ways are pleasant ways, and all her paths are peace. She is a tree of life to those taking hold of her, and blessed are all who retain her. Wisdom, my brothers and sisters. Now let's see how this ties to pearls. Bear with me a second, my brothers and sisters. What is a pearl? I put one definition of a pearl up, and I'm going to read it. A hard, lustrous, spherical mass, typically white or bluish gray, formed within the shell of a pearl, oyster, or other bivalve mollusks and highly prized as a gem. I submit to you, Yashar'al, when I ask what is a pearl, that's probably what most of us thought about. Piece of jewelry that's beautiful. But that is where many of us stop. We fall short to understand the pearl. Let me read some more regarding the pearl. Consider these words. Pearls are formed when an irritant such as a bit of food or grain of sand, bacteria, or even a piece of mollusk's mantle becomes trapped in the mollusk. To protect itself, the mollusk secretes the substance aragonite, a mineral, and choline, a protein, which are the same substances it secretes to form its shell. The composite of these two substances is called nacre, or mother of pearl. The layers are deposited around the irritant and it grows over time, forming the pearl. You might say, okay, what does that have to do with anything? You see, my brothers and sisters, we take the pearl for granted. We don't recognize that the pearl symbolizes the results of something that transpired. Now you might say, okay, well, I see how it's formed. What that has to do with me? Believe it or not, many species of shellfish aid in providing balance to coastal waters. Consider these words regarding the pearl. And when I asked you what was a pearl, did any of these thoughts come to mind? Or do we fall short with the vanity and the beauty of a pearl itself, not knowing what is the result of? It says nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus are only a problem when in excess. In other words, if it's too much nitrogen and phosphorus in the waters, it's a problem. Excess nitrogen is the primary nutrient of concern for many coastal water bodies. When there's more nitrogen in the environment than nutrient cycles can handle, consequences can include decreasing presence of marine plants, algae blooms that create reduced oxygen levels, which can cause fish kills and closure of waterways for the recreation use and aquaculture farming. Oysters and other shellfish remove nitrogen. These shellfish, they remove nitrogen from the marine environment in two ways, and thus can be one tool in nutrient management. You see, so in other words, my brothers and sisters, there are some that would say the oyster, we're not supposed to eat it. We're not. It's not a clean food. But that doesn't mean disregard its purpose, its function. You see, when we start looking at the function, the role of different living organisms, in people even, and stop taking things for granted because they look good, get into the matter, the whole matter. What's occurring, my brothers and sisters? In this case, I read to you how pearls are a result of oysters bringing balance to the coastal waters. Pearls are formed in their true place in the life cycle. One just may see the pearls are not just beautiful, they are the result of work done by shellfish to help clean the water, to help bring balance to the water, to identify and encapsulate what is not good. So the result of the work and function of that oyster is the pearl. And I say to you, my brothers and sisters, when it talks about do not cast your pearls before swines, after the work that you've done to study, to show thyself approved, after the work that you've done to manage these earthen vessels and press into maturity and set-apartness, don't throw it all away with the wicked, the pig, the swine, the ones that will just take in anything and can care less. Understand the pearl that you have is the result of growing in obedience and set-apartness. So many waste time trying to prove a fact, but knowing we can present the truth, we can vet and examine it in detail to make sure it is indeed the truth, and we can press forward. Unfruitful conversations are just that. Let us come away from them. It is my belief that pigs or swine are like non-man-made garbage disposals. Yes, garbage disposals to help, to some degree, clean the environment, the landmass, just as the pearls bring balance in the waters. Consider this about pigs, boars, and hogs, which are omnivores and will eat just about anything. Wild boars, for example, fill the majority of their diet with roots, seeds, bulbs, and green plants, according to Woodland Trust. However, as the opportunistic feeders, they will also chow down on invertebrates, carrion, decaying flesh, and even small mammals found in the forest. Do things become overpopulated? This includes rodents. You see, they're like garbage disposals. My brothers and sisters, believe it or not, there are those among us who take set-apart words and attempt to use them for selfish gain. They will take the pearls among us, the strides and progress that we've made in maturity, growing in maturity, improving our worship. They will take that and disregard you and take that and massage it for their own gain. I see that all too often. Some people mine the internet for messages and say, oh, I can use that content. I can use that content. Not discerning if it is indeed set apart, what is its function? What is its purpose? Beware of hidden agendas, for there are those who want credit for something they are actually clueless of its origins. In other words, they want to say they came up with it. Or the Most High told them this or told them that. And they abuse the pearls, the functions, the result of set-apartness, because they don't fully understand. Believe it or not, my brothers and sisters, these are those who are like pigs, grabbing at everything to be satisfied, both good and evil. Pigs, with no regards to what the Almighty Father has for us, O Yashar'al. Can we identify the pigs, the swines? In the coming days, we will see who they are, fighting, grappling, abusing the scriptures. I invite you to challenge anyone as to the origins of their positions of belief. In other words, why do you believe this about Shabbat? Why do you believe this about when the day begins or ends? Why do you believe this about a new moon? Why do you believe this about set-apartness and salvation? Where did you get it from? Seek out the origins, my brothers and sisters, of their position of belief, whether on a specific subject or teaching matter. And you will find some have not dug enough. Some have just gazed at it, like looking at a pearl, not knowing how it came to be or its purpose. My brothers and sisters, beware of those who handle set-apart instructions recklessly. Remember, reading and understanding skills differ with individuals, but it's the Spirit of Yahuah that makes things known. You see, my brothers and sisters, the way we were taught in school, programmed mentally, our cognitive factors function off of the way we've been conditioned, whether it be in school, home, community, groups. And as a result of that, we misinterpret things. Just like with Shabbat. You will have many people throw up the scripture that says it was evening, there was morning, there was a day. And they read that and believe that defines Shabbat, the time of Shabbat, or the time of a day. And they completely forget that this was all created by Yahuah, who is light, who is the beginning and the end. So things begin with light and end with light, for Yahuah is the beginning and the end. He is light. They so quickly forget that. That's a comprehension flaw. It's also a flaw to those who are made delusional for wrong intent. So in other words, those who abuse the pearl, those who abuse the things that are to make for set-apartness will get it wrong, will struggle and not fully understand. Let me read Matthew 10:26. It says, Therefore do not fear them, for whatever is covered shall be revealed. Whatever is hidden shall be made known. This is by the power and might, by the light of the Almighty Father, our eyes will be opened in the coming days. We will become more informed and begin to recognize the processes and details that bring about that finished product like a jewel. But there's work to be done. Remember Matthew chapter 5, 13 through 16, my brothers and sisters. Come with me as I read this. It says, You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt becomes tasteless, how shall it be seasoned? For it is no longer of any use, but to be thrown out and to be trodden down by men. You are the light of the world. It is impossible for a city to be hidden on a mountain. Nor did they light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a lampstand, and it shines to all those in the house. Let your light so shine before men, so that they see your good works and praise your Father who is in the heavens. You see, so let us not just marvel at the light and take for granted that it is our Almighty Father that works good works in us to echo his light, his set-apartness, his set-apart ways. Yashar'al, my brothers and sisters, know what is expected in these coming days. Consider these words. Philippians 1:9 through 11. It says, For this I pray, that your love might extend more and more in knowledge and all discernment, for you to examine the matters that differ, in order to be sincere and not stumbling into the day of Messiah, being filled with the fruit of righteousness through Yahushua Messiah, to the esteem and praise of the Almighty One. Yashar'al, or Yashar'al. Knowledge and discernment. I want you to remember these words as well. For yes, I repeat them, and just like any warning, it will repeat itself until it's no longer necessary. Hear these words, O Yashar'al, and ask yourselves, what are the expectations? What do you think the characteristics of judgment beginning at the house of the Almighty Father? It says, because it's time for judgment to begin at the house of Yahuah. And if firstly from us, what is the end of those who do not obey the good news of the Almighty One? And if the righteous one is scarcely saved, where shall the wicked and the sinner appear? So then, those who suffer according to the desire of the Almighty One should commit their lives to a trustworthy Creator in doing good. Yashar'al, O Yashar'al. Be alert. Be alert. There are those who are blinded by the Almighty Yahuah and will handle things recklessly. Come away from those who demonstrate habits akin to the behavior of pigs. Fighting, arguing, debating, unfruitful conversations. You see, iron sharpening iron is digging for the truth, mining for the truth, asking questions, seeking answers, weighing them against the scriptures in whole, not taking one passage and throwing that at you, oblivious to another passage. So many brothers and sisters sometimes are stuck on the text, notwithstanding the Spirit guiding them through what is written. These are like pigs, want to toss it to fit their belief, their positions. If the position is true, we should be able to weigh it wholly against the word that is made alive, and it will confirm it. If the position is trying to abuse scriptures to their own self-gain, we may find a pig among us. My brothers and sisters, is that really what we want? Or do we want to participate in the functioning, the process of identifying what is set apart and what is not, shining like a jewel that's been fashioned by working to grow in maturity, discerning the ways of the Almighty Father, worshiping and obeying Him? End times are here, my brothers and sisters. Take these words seriously, prayerfully. 2 Timothy 2:14-18, for it reads, "Remind them of this, earnestly witnessing before the Master, not to wage verbal battles, which is useless to overthrowing of the hearers." You see, sometimes we think it's our words. Sometimes we want our words to make that difference. I submit to you, we are stopping short of realizing that though we may speak to one another, though we may fellowship with one another, it is the Spirit of the Almighty One that opened our eyes and ears to understand, to discern what is indeed the ways of Yahuah and how we must govern ourselves. So though we may want our words to make it happen, that would be giving credit to the speaker, not to the origins of that thought or influence. And I say to you who are set apart, walking in obedience, who discern the ways of the living Almighty One, I say to you, the origin of our words come from Him, He who is the Almighty Father. It says, do your utmost to present yourself approved to the Almighty One, a worker who does not need to be ashamed, rightly handling the word of truth. Some versions will say, study to show thyself approved. Study doesn't mean just read and memorize a passage. Study means to examine the origins, the life in the passage. What indeed is the desire of the Almighty Father for us to gain and understand? It says, but keep away from profane, empty babblings, for they go on to more wickedness. Sometimes we're in conversation, my brothers and sisters, and people already are stuck on their answers, and they'll throw a rhetorical question, a question that they believe they already have the answer to. Let us not waste time or give in to such. Ask a person, if they ask you a question, do they sincerely want to know what your position is? Or do they already have an answer in their head and they can care less what your position is? It goes on here, keep away from profane, empty babbling, for they go on to more wickedness, and their words shall eat its way like a gangrene. Hymenaeus and Philetus are of this sort, who have missed the goal concerning the truth, saying that the resurrection had already taken place, and overthrow the belief of some. There's the literal teaching and message that went forth here in 2 Timothy. And there's a spiritual where we can find some things like that happening now, applicable to today. Yashar'al, oh Yashar'al. Let's come away from unfruitful conversation. If we find ourselves believing it's iron sharpening iron, but there is no progress, step away from it and pray and believe that the Almighty Father will open our eyes and ears to understand and discern what is the will of the Almighty Father. Let's examine these words. It said, because it is time for judgment to begin from the house of the Almighty One, and if firstly from us, what is the end of those who do not obey the good news? And if the righteous one is scarcely saved, where shall the wicked and the sinner appear? So then, those who suffer according to the desire of the Almighty One should commit their lives to a trustworthy Creator in doing good. Judgment beginning at the house of Yahuah. What does that look like? Have we discussed the expectations, the characteristics of such? Do we know how to yield to correction, or are we fighting it? Are we battling, trying to preserve our own egos or erroneous positions of belief? Yashar'al, O Yashar'al, judgment has begun. And as a result of that, the fruit is what we see. Some of the conflict within the body of Yashar'al is a result of judgment being executed, disagreements flowing, and the result will be where the set-apart ones will come away in or purge those who are not walking according to the ways of the Almighty Father. I present the need to consider this passage prayerfully, my brothers and sisters. Pray on these matters. Use caution when speaking on the things that are set apart. Know when you're speaking to pigs that there are times to just be quiet. Don't waste your time. Versus someone hungry and thirsty for set-apartness. That's a different story. Present them the pearl, the jewel, the details of what brought you to where you are, the details of what brought the result of a treasured demonstration, a treasured image, an image of one walking in obedience. John 12:36-40. Let me read this, O Yashar'al. It says, while you have the light, believe in the light so that you become sons of light. These words Yahusha spoke and went off and was hidden from them. But though he had done so many signs before them, they did not believe in him, that the word of Yeshayahu the prophet might be fulfilled, which he spoke. Yahuah, who has believed our report, and to whom has the arm of Yahuah been revealed? Because of this, they were unable to believe, because again, Yeshayahu said, he has blinded their eyes and hardened their heart, so that they should not see with their eyes and understand with their heart, and turn, and I should heal them. Yashar'al, my brothers and sisters, there are those that have been blinded by the Almighty Father because of the wrong intent. They are like pigs, just want to devour anything, just want to consume recklessly and misuse the scriptures. We see people taking the scriptures out of its truthful meaning under the guise of context. We see people that's trying to justify what they believe the scripture is saying, so much so as saying that the scriptures interpret itself. Man has tampered with the scriptures, my brothers and sisters. The text has been tampered with. Look at all the different versions out there. Many want to hide the true name of Yahuah. Many want to hide when a new month begins and ends. Many want to hide his name when a day begins, how to govern Shabbat. My brothers and sisters, beware of word abusers. These are those who take pearls for granted and are non-discerning. They are as pigs and swines. Watch in the coming days as the truth is made clear to us, who will be brought together in unity. The final exodus required details and processes, functions, just as the oyster contribute to cleaning up the waterway. See, the water is clean. The oyster works as in removing the things that should not be, that try to bring things out of balance. And as a result of that hard work, produce something beautiful, a pearl. Can we not, through the functions of walking in obedience, yielding to reproof and truth, be as a jewel, be as a pearl? Or are we more focused on one another looking good, but inwardly are ravaging pigs. Choose your position wisely, O Yashar'al. Seek to discern and identify the swine, the pig. Seek to discern the brother, the sister that's truly hungry. During these last days, it is incumbent. It would be important. It's critical for us to begin to identify those who sincerely pursue the truth and what it takes to walk in the truth, my brothers and sisters. As I gradually come to an end, I want to say this. Do not be afraid to present what is ordered in fear of pigs, but use wisdom and be focused, O Yashar'al. Avoid the distraction of those who are reckless and have no intentions of recognizing pearls. All that it took to bring about the pearl, all that it took for you to come to your position of belief. And if your position of belief is erroneous, let us have a mind, a spirit, to yield to correction and come under the blood of Yahusha and repent and rise up renewed, refreshed, strengthened, stronger than ever before. Understand the details and dynamics of what I just presented, O Yashar'al. For the days of taking things for granted will gradually wane off to those who are awakened to the discipline that is required to fulfill these final days. Yashar'al, O Yashar'al, what say you regarding these final days? Do we look at a jewel and marvel at it, take it for granted, and not realize the work that it took to bring about that product? Do we look at one another and steal words of set-apartness, steal it to use it for our own self-gain? Or do we listen to one another? Do we minister to one another as the Spirit of Yahushua works in us, through us, one towards another? These final days will bring about what is necessary to bring about the unity and success of this final Exodus and more. What is necessary to strengthen the martyr for Yahushua's name? What is necessary for someone to present the final words before destruction come, the destruction that is described in end times? For not all will be gathered before the physical return of Yahushua. The time now is to discern what tasks are put before you, what is expected of you. Yashar'al, hear these words, my brothers and sisters. Understand the dynamics of pearls in pigs. Understanding what is necessary to grow and walk in set-apartness, to not stop the function of the Spirit of Yahushua working in us, cleaning us up, strengthening us, bringing us into unity. In the coming days ahead, things will become more and more clear. We will find ourselves to be a more refined people, a more refined nation, those who are trained by the discipline of the Almighty Father. On that note, I say to you, my brothers and sisters, be encouraged. For my prayer is that we grow each day in discerning the voice of the Spirit of Yahuwah that comes to us in Yahushua's name. This is how we are able to communicate with Yahuwah through His Word Yahusha. Do you think that we have the power or earn anything to talk to He who is the Almighty everywhere at all times, the Spirit of Yahuwah, without His Word? This is why it says no one can come unto the Father except through the Son, through the Word that He has established to communicate with us and us with Him. Yahusha, the Word of Yahuwah, no Trinity. On that note, O Yashar'al, I thank you for your patience, your prayers, your tolerance, your pursuit of set-apartness. And I say to you, my brother, my sister, Shalum. Shalom, my brother, my sister, my family.